Good evening, everyone. This is ADHD Cutie. I'm here to start another conversation, lifting our ADHD Black voices. I am super excited to have my very special guest on today, my first male, Mr. Lion FLudd. Thank you
Hello.
so much. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Now, Mr. FLudd, as you can see, is a Black male. He's not a mom, but that's okay because I do things different. Everybody knows that. So we're going to talk to him today about his ADHD son. And if any of you have been following Mr. FLudd, you have definitely seen his son on several episodes. I believe he has his own channel or something. Is that right?
Correct.
And then, and then Mr. FLudd interviewed me last year. So here we are again. So I'm going to let you do the talking. You tell your story, and I'll ask questions along the way.
All right. Sounds good. So, first, thank you all for being here. Just to introduce myself, as you were just heard, my name is Lion FLudd. I am a loving, doting parent with my wife and our family to our 9-year-old son now. I'm so excited that he has made it this far because I've told him many times that he keeps playing with me. He won't make it to 9, but he's made it. So, congratulations to him on succeeding that far, right? No, but as most people who have a neurodivergent child understands, there are some moments where our buttons get pushed, but that's one of the parts where we have to learn how to
Woosa,
develop. Yes.
woosa.
And
A lot of praying and woosa.
yeah, but it's one of the things I think is that's so important because with my wife and I, one of the things that we really, really wanted to do is learn how to work with him. So, unlike when I grew up in my generations, and I'm sure generations prior, especially in the African American community, it's always there's nothing wrong with you. You're just too bad or you're too hyper, right? We wanted to learn. So, we actually went for testing. We went to learn what are some techniques that we can use to work with him when his world starts shaking, when he starts feeling overwhelmed or having sensory issues if there's things going around, right? So that has helped us tremendously, though. So I always advise anyone who's going through that, whether they're a parent or a guardian, take some time to learn how you can adjust to your son, daughter, or someone that's in your home, even if you're a guardian or something.
Now, let me jump in here and ask you, have
Sure.
you or your wife ever been diagnosed ADHD? Because you know ADHD is highly hereditary. Have either one
Yeah.
of you been
Uh,
officially diagnosed?
Not officially, but I've been self-diagnosed.
Okay.
No, no, I'm kidding. But no, not officially. But
Well, because a
as
lot of people do that also. They see the similarities in
yeah,
their ADHD child and like, oh my God.
yeah, and
Yes,
researching some of the things and speaking to the doctors, I know that
absolutely.
there's 99% chance that we have it. Um,
Hmm.
and it's refreshing and eye-opening at the same time
Yes,
because
yes.
I reflect back to saying, wow, that's probably why I
That
was doing
was
things when I was
right,
a kid.
right.
But
That's
my
why I was doing
parents,
that. Hmm,
yeah, my
hmm.
parents just didn't um, have the fortitude to say, hey, let's go get him checked out because, and it's not their fault because we
No,
grew
they
up in
didn't
that.
talk about stuff like that back then.
Yeah,
Yeah. They
it
didn't talk
wasn't
about that.
open. It wasn't open or
No.
anything like that. So, I don't directly blame them for that. But
Right.
I think it definitely could have helped us as we have
Yeah.
learned with our son. He has such an open line of communication with us now. As
Hmm.
when we speak to him, he comes to us and say, "Hey, I'm just not feeling myself today. I'm not
That's
feeling
excellent.
well at this moment." And then we know how to say, "Okay, hey, let's go sit down. Go over some of our steps, breathe, and whatever else is involved." But
Hmm,
if he
hmm,
if he felt nervous or scared that anytime he was going through something and we jumped on him, he would then recluse and stop
hmm.
saying those
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
I'm extremely glad for us doing that.
That's awesome. So, How is he doing in school? Do you have like accommodations or anything like that put in place for him? Is the
Mm.
school following it? Are you having trouble with that? How's that? How's all that going?
Yes, that is so great. You know what? That just reminded me. I think I'm going to talk about something like that on my podcast here soon and have him do the same. Because so we recently moved from Las Vegas to South Carolina.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah, and we have noticed such an extreme acceleration and adjustment in him from the two states, from Nevada to South Carolina, right? And even the cities. So he is doing
Wow!
extremely well in school here
Like,
versus when he was in North Carolina.
can can you give us some examples of
Absolutely.
the differences you're seeing?
Yes. Grades wise, for number one, in Nevada, we had to fight to try to get implemented a 504 or an IEP or anything,
Mhm,
and we could not.
mhm.
It was the hardest thing for them to do when we
Like
moved.
pulling teeth from a lion, right?
Yes, they would not, and I
Yep,
am just
yep.
like, "Why?" It's not any more money, it's not, but,
Right. Mhm.
it's whatever. But when we moved, immediately the school that we attend here in Myrtle Beach, they were like, "Sure, let's work," and we get updates and we get communication. So I think that helps him out. And then also being in this atmosphere here, he excels because it's so diverse. He came home one day and he would say, "Dad, I was a PE and we were playing this game," and he described it absolutely wrong, incorrect. And I was like, "What game are you talking? What sport?" He's like, "Yeah, we did this." And so I was like, "Hockey?" He's like, "Yeah." And then come to find out, they sent us pictures of them playing. It was lacrosse.
Oh,
And
see, he didn't know what that was. He
right,
didn't know what it was or what to call it. Yeah, that's why he was
right.
describing it. Yeah,
Yeah,
he didn't know what that's called.
it was so
That is
cute
so
though.
cool.
Yeah, and because one,
Well,
that
see,
was that's
that's what the schools need to get back to, the fun. Them
yeah,
having fun, that exercise, that getting out and playing makes a huge difference in learning,
yeah.
especially in the ADHD brain.
Oh,
I don't understand why they've just completely moved away from that.
yeah.
Recess for my son was a joke in Maryland. It's a
Mm.
joke. The playgrounds are a joke. I'm like, what is this? What is this? That's not a playground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. They need to find a way to put some fun back in the classroom, even
Mm,
in the middle school and high school. It's so boring and humdrum. Yeah, I get it. It's important. They need it. Blah blah blah.
yeah,
But it's just so monotonous, and our ADHD brains cannot handle it. I'm sure it would be
not
beneficial to all the kids in the class if you would, fun it up
yeah.
somehow,
And that's one
some
of the
way.
great things when we moved here is because as soon as we got here, they took him to some field trips and he got to explore. And he said,
Hmm.
"Dad, we went on a
Yes.
boat and they took us to the ocean and they saw animals and some aquarium." And it was so great for him to be a part of that because that nature and that
Hmm.
experience, and he wanted
Yes.
more. And his grades
Yep.
just zoomed. And this teacher was like, "This kid is finishing this work faster than my kids," and but in Las Vegas, it was just horrible. But,
Hmm.
that's a whole
And
nother
he'll
issue.
learn that he'll remember that outside field trip lesson
Yeah,
much way longer and much better
yeah,
than he's learning and remembering the classroom stuff. He's
yeah.
going to remember that forever.
And, a fun thing also, he and I, my wife, our family, we were all featured, on the Today Show in an article written in their blog post and on TV for the NBC nightly news with Lester Holt. And he got
Wow.
interviewed in reference to his ADHD and his podcast and stuff like that as well. So then he went to school and he's like, some of the kids said, "Hey, we saw you on TV," and now he thinks he's a little celebrity now.
Because he is a little NBC, yeah, he's a celebrity. He's definitely a celebrity. So how did that come about? How did that
Yeah. So that was part of when we were going through the uh I don't want to say horrific, but the part of when there was a shortage of the ADHD medication
Mhm,
nationally, right? And so
mhm,
that was a whole whirlwind for any parent that we had to learn to readjust because he was starting to wean off his medication, and so
mhm.
yeah, everything was different. And so
Yeah.
we were speaking about it on our podcast, and I guess it just got filtered down, and someone heard it, and someone passed it along, and that kind of story. And then they reached out to us and said, "Hey, we can get someone from LA to come and talk to you right now." We're like, I was like, "Honey,
Wow.
hurry up and clean. Let's clean." It's like, we're about to be on TV. Let's he was saying, I was like, the baseboards, look at the baseboards. No. But
Get the cobweb out the corner. Get the
yeah,
cobweb out the
but they came in, and
corner.
it was really, really cool and different and unique. And I'll tell you what else, little things like that, especially with the neurodivergent kids and people, it sparks something, right? Because
Mhm.
I noticed, now that I'm thinking about it, after that, he was becoming a part of his school's like technology campus or training or whatever, where he got to do announcements for the morning school or help out with
Yeah,
behind this camera
yeah,
recording and stuff.
yeah.
So little things like that spark
Yeah,
our kids.
it boosts their confidence because now that he's someone has come to him and
Mm,
wanted to know about it, especially on that level,
yeah,
it makes him feel that he's not so bad. He's not so weird or quirky or whatever they were saying about him. He's not those things. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be like this because people want to hear about it. That makes a
yeah,
huge difference. I know when my son came home, he was in elementary school and they asked him, like you said, to do the announcements and all of that. He got to do the whole thing. He was super excited. I was like, wow, that's really
yeah.
cool that they do that. Yeah, it made a huge difference, like you said. Huge difference. Yeah. So okay, so he's 9 years old now. So but he's still in elementary, right? He's not quite
Correct.
middle
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
What
I
grade
keep
is
telling
he?
he's in third now, going
Third.
into
Okay.
fourth, but I keep telling him because every once in a while we will see a story about some young kid graduating college at like 14 or something. And I said, look, you need to get on that path because you got to start helping out around this house. You know what I'm saying? You rents due, and we got to teach them early. We got to let them
Okay, you
understand
know what? Pump your brakes,
finances.
Dad. Pump your brakes. No, because I
Yeah,
think that's the mistake that I made. They may be brain wise and grade wise, intellectually, they are able to keep up. But in all other aspects, no,
yeah,
no. Because the pace can get too much. It can be too fast. They can do the work, but they have to do it at their pace and in a way that makes sense to them. And a lot of these accelerated programs are not created for that. I know we
absolutely.
had a big problem with my son with that. He was in a highly, highly
Yeah,
accelerated program.
that's
And
how
that's
my
what they
son
kept
was.
saying. That's what they kept saying. Oh, well, the program's not created for that. The program's not created. I was like, well, you picked him for the program. So you've got to give him the accommodations he needs to be successful in it.
Yeah.
You picked him. We didn't seek you out. But as I'm looking back, I think maybe they did that just to get rid of him because he had to go to a new school to
Mm,
do this program. Now that I look at it that way, I was like, okay, yeah, that was just their way to get rid of him.
yeah.
So cool. Okay, um, so it's summertime. So they're out of school now, right? He's out of school.
Correct. Yes, he's
Okay,
out of
so for
school right
this,
now.
so for summertime, what is he doing?
So currently, right now, he is visiting with his grandparents. Said, "Hey, let's let him see another part and explore and everything like that." So that's where he's at currently now. But once he gets back, we've got several programs set up for him with our local library and everything like that, where he gets to go and meet some other kids, reading programs. They also have like a podcasting program at our library for the kids. I found that out. I was excited.
Oh,
Yes, so
wow.
he's gonna be doing that, and then we have a few things that we're working to teach him. We're going to take him to because it's very different where we came from the desert basically in
Mhm.
Vegas to being here.
Yeah,
There's so much more
Vegas, yep.
things to do. So
Beach, nature, outside, yeah,
yes, we're taking him
absolutely.
to discover scuba diving. We're gonna do that. He's really excited
Nice.
about that now. He couldn't do it until he was 8, but now he's like, "Yep, I'm ready now." So yeah, so we're
Wow.
really excited about that, and we want to keep him constantly in motion, but not for things just to fill the void.
Right, right.
Even to the
Want it to
point
be
where
something that he's interested in, yeah.
yeah, like we limit his screen time for his games. He gets an hour a
Absolutely,
day, and then
absolutely, yep.
it's something constructive, right? We're
Mhm.
outside, even if we're just taking a walk in run of trees. Believe it or not, these trees are so relaxing for us here.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
there's a difference, and the people who
Yes.
don't people who grew up with trees and whatever city you're in, if you have trees around
They
you,
don't they don't, yeah,
you don't understand it
yeah,
until you live in the
they don't.
desert.
Right, right. I had the same experience because I always wanted to be by the water, the ocean, so I
Mm,
always tried to live close to that, and for the most part, I have. But since I've been doing the pet and house sitting, I've been visiting more deserts and more mountainous areas.
mm.
Oh my God, it's just the mountain views and seeing how the mountain, if it looks like it's literally kissing the sky.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And then the sky, just the sky itself, it looks different.
Mhm.
It has so many hues of blue, and it just for some reason looks clearer and more bluer. And you can see these different hues, almost like you were looking at the ocean in the Caribbean.
Oh,
It's like that. It's absolutely stunning. It's like a postcard. It really is a postcard. I'm like,
yeah.
wow. And that
Blows your
happened in
mind.
Palm Springs, and Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And Phoenix. My son had gone to Phoenix a couple of times with his buddies, and when the first time he went, he told me he really liked it. He would even that would be a place that he would even consider moving to. I'm like, really? Out in the desert in Phoenix? And it wasn't until I went out there, I'm like, wow, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. So you said he's with grandma now. So is she equipped? Does she know what to do as far as how to handle his neurodivergence, his busyness? I mean, because
Um, she's informed. Say it like that, right?
has
I
she
don't
ever
think
dealt with
I
him before?
not for a length of period of time like this, but yes, she
Okay,
has.
because it makes it
But
it makes a difference. Yep, it
yes,
makes
but
a
not
difference when it's
but
longer. All right.
yeah, when it's that length of time all day, every day. So now she's
Mm-hmm.
experiencing it, but it's still great. And we waited until he was older to do that.
Uh
So
huh.
that way he was a little bit more mature than sending him when he
Yeah.
was 6 and he
Yeah.
would have been everywhere with her, right? Yeah. He at least knows how to regulate himself
uh huh.
a lot more actually now,
Hmm.
which helps them out. So yeah, but she understands and she knows it's still some work for her being the first time, well, for
All
both
right.
of them, grandma and granddad.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But hey, he's enjoying it, and that's the main important part.
Hmm. Now, what are some techniques that you have been teaching him to help him to learn how to self-regulate, and have they changed as he's gotten older?
Yeah, absolutely. They have. And that's one of the great things that we notice with him as well. As he's getting older, he's he's able to communicate more what his feelings and what's going on with him, right? He's able to, so for an example, a small thing where we would go out to eat sometimes. He had this extremely burst of loud talking, right? And we had to work to show him inside voice, right? Inside voice. So we can do small things now to remind him right when we sat down at the table. Hey, let's remember inside voice, right? And so we kind of preface it because if we don't say it, then he doesn't think inside
Right.
voice. He
Right.
just goes back to
Mm-hmm.
natural, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
anything. Whereas he's meaning to do it, he's just excited.
Mm-hmm.
He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"Whoa, this chicken is so good!" Right?
Yeah.
He's like, he just,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Hey, that's good. Just give your compliments to the chef. You don't got to tell everybody in the restaurant." Like, so Um,
He's like, but I do. Everybody needs to
right.
get the chicken.
So yeah, but little things like that, we'll tell them we'll go to a movie or something. We're like, hey, remember, there's other people around that wants to enjoy it as well. We know you're excited, and you can tell us if you're excited about a part, but let's not tell everyone, right? So those little things that helps him out. And then also a fun little thing that we got him was this watch that's called a Gizmo watch.
Hmm.
And because we didn't want to get him a phone, it's a way to communicate. He can call us, he can send us text messages, etc. And this is
Okay.
not a paid endorsement by Gizmo. I'm not getting paid by them in any form or fashion. Although Gizmo, if you're listening, I'm open to that. I am definitely open to it, right?
Gotta pay that rent.
So, but yeah, but the beautiful thing we love about this is it's almost like a phone, because we were like, if he loses a phone, that's a whole big investment that's lost, broken. The watch, inexpensive, but it does the same thing that the phone does, right? It has a location, GPS, it has all of those things. But you control who he can call, text, or communicate. So there's an
Mhm.
app on the phone, and you can put family members and friends in there, and those are the only people he can call or can call him. So he can't get a phone number from someone at school and just start calling them, right? It has to
Okay.
go into our app, and then he can call them, and we can limit how
Ah,
long he talks, what games he
yeah,
plays, and stuff like that. So that's really, really great. And it's only
that's
$5 a month
sweet.
on our phone plan. So we
I
love that.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Um, when this uh when this video goes up, I would definitely like for you to put that information
sure.
in the description box or in the comments. That would be great to share that. I think that would be beneficial for a lot of other parents.
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
helped our relief so much. Even when he's outside playing, it's
Hmm.
helped us so much.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so tell me, from a black man's perspective, what would you say to other black men
Hmm,
who have boys that are neurodivergent? Because I
sure.
know our men, our black men, or we feel a certain way about our black boys, and he gonna be just like his daddy, and da 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 da. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with him. I don't want to hear that, and blah blah blah. He just needs to try harder. He just being like, what would you say to
Yeah.
those fathers?
Yeah. So something I found myself saying often, and when I talk to people on my podcast, is that you are not beholden to your past. You do not have to do what your parents did to you. Tradition is just a way for the dead to try to make us feel guilty, right? I don't have to keep my Christmas tree up 3 days after Christmas any
Thank
longer
you. Thank
just
you.
because my parents did it. I
Right.
can
Yeah, I
change,
don't want
right?
to do that.
I if I don't want if I had a childhood that was traumatic, I don't have to continue doing it, right? I don't have to tell my son when he falls down, get up, or is there blood? Then keep walking. I can sit him
Hmm.
down like we do. I set him, hey, dad, I just fell and I hurt my hand. Okay, cool. Come sit down. Let me see it. Let's talk. Are you all right?
Hmm.
Instead of just get up and walk it off, right?
Right. Just brush it off and yeah,
Yeah,
don't deal with your right.
yes. If you want to change the way the generations do it in the future, it starts with you
You've
right
got to be
now.
the change. Yes,
Yeah,
you've got to be the change.
and you don't have to think to yourself, well, if I show emotions and I am weak, or my
Weak,
son's going to
a
be weak.
punk,
Absolutely
or
not.
I'm a punk.
There's no
Yeah, I
way.
got so sick of hearing that.
My son would tell you, and my wife and I both do this. And whenever I say, I do something, I always that's inclusive of my wife because we work as a team. But whenever he gets out of his vehicle in the mornings when we drop him off, or to camp or wherever we do, we say,
Mhm.
"Hey, say an affirmation," and he'll say an affirmation. I am great, and I have a picture of him holding a book in which it's
Oh,
an
that's
affirmation book, and
wonderful.
we have him read
Yes.
affirmations. So every
I
day he gets out
love
of the vehicle, no, I'm like, nope, you said that one yesterday. Say a different one, right?
I
And then
love that. Yes. Yes.
we have little sayings that he and I will say, and I'll tell him, I say, make memories, not what, and he'll go money, right? And that's not telling him to not make money.
All
That's
right.
just telling him memories are more important with your
More
family
important.
than
Mhm.
money,
Mhm.
right? If you working so hard that you aren't sharing memories with your kids and your families, they're gonna get 40 years old and be like, "What did dad and I do during the summer? What did mom
Right.
and I do?"
Mhm.
So yeah, but we allow
Mhm.
him to do all those things. So if you're a black man out there, and my son loves doing things with his mom as well. He wants to knit. Like, go knit, kid. I don't care. Are you happy doing it? Learn how to crochet. That doesn't make him whatever terminology you want to use. He's
A
having
punk.
fun. Yeah,
A punk. A
he
sissy.
he's doing it.
Yeah.
And maybe
Mhm.
he stop doing it in 2 years, and if he wants to play baseball, cool, but he doesn't, he wants to play tennis, cool, whatever. As long as he's healthy and happy, black men, let your kids live.
Mhm.
You will be happier, trust me. Yeah, that's my
Sounds
saying.
good. Sounds good. Ooh, um, so what's on the horizon for you and for your son? So
Mm. Yeah,
what's next?
that's a great question, and that's one that I don't plan out so much as far as like in
Right.
2 years I want to do this because we're planning things, and one of our biggest focus with him is we're working really hard to teach him financial responsibilities, right? So we have a
Oh, wow.
little we got him a little card, and he has a bank account, and so now even at 9 he's starting to learn, yo, this is my money. If I spend it all, I can't buy that extra thing that we want,
Uh-huh.
but it's one of the
Mhm.
cards where we still have access to know if he does purchase something. So even when his grandparents right
Okay.
now, if he purchases something, it comes up on our app,
You'll still
and
know.
we're like,
Okay.
"Did you
Okay.
get candy today?" How much candy? You're not supposed to eat that much
Wait,
candy, right?
wait. The card tells you what he bought?
Yes. Yeah. Same way if they rang it up at the register, so it'll
Uh-huh.
say, he bought, it doesn't tell it's a brand, of course, but it says he bought,
Right.
it
Candy or gum
well,
or
let me rephrase it, not directly like that, but it will say he spent $3 at Uncle Joe's, corner store, right? And then from that, you can kinda tell, you start asking him.
uh-huh.
So it doesn't say that candy, it just says what store he purchased it from and then
Okay.
how much he purchased, right? So
Yeah,
we
so
know if
you
he
can
went to
pretty
the
much
yeah,
conclude.
the corner shop down the road,
Okay.
you ain't getting broccoli, you know? So so you 9, you getting some kind of stuff,
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So absolutely, I definitely would like for you to share that link as well. So for the watch and for
the debit cards.
the debit cards,
Yeah,
yes, please,
yeah,
please, definitely do share
and we
that.
could
That would
turn
be
it off, so
so
if your kid
beneficial. Oh
has
my
it
God.
and you don't want them to spend more money, you just click a button and it stops and they can't spend it, right? So,
Wow. Wow. Now, how do you reload it to put more money on it so you
yeah,
can
you just do
run
it
out?
from yours, so we can transfer money from our bank account and say, "Here's $20. There you go. Have fun. Go to the
And
movie."
all that's done through the app?
Yeah, very simple, very easy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Now, like when he goes to school, does he use that like to pay for his lunch or does he take his lunch?
no, well, some days he do. He'll ask us, and depends on how we feel. We had a long day. He's like, "Dad, hot lunch today?" Like, no, no, we got breakfast this morning for you, or we got lunch
Mhm.
packed for you, whatever. But yes, he can use it. And again, that's one of the things that we've been strongly working on with the financial responsibility. He starts to
Mhm.
know, we know how much lunch is. We maybe load that up for the week. And if he buys something more, then you don't get lunch the next day. You spent your money, buddy. This is how the real world
Yeah.
works. Of course, we're gonna
Yeah.
give him something, but now he's getting a PBJ sandwich, to take to lunch. And
Right.
so hey, that's how it is. There's gonna be days when you're gonna be trying to get ramen noodles, so you better get ready for it, buddy. So
Yeah, I was doing that with him with elementary school because he wanted to buy lunch. You know, all the other kids were buying lunch, but then he was starting to see that the food was nasty. So then he was buying, like you
mhm.
said, the PB&J sandwiches, cheese sandwiches. I'm like, oh my, you're spending money on that. And then of course that wasn't filling him up, so he's buying double for one day just to fill him up. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, no. But it made it hard to send lunches to the school because they didn't have microwaves. There was no way for them to heat up stuff, and they
Yeah,
didn't have time to really heat up stuff. It was so limited. So it was, yeah,
yeah.
that's a whole nother story. But Okay, so to wrap up, what is the one thing that you know and have learned throughout this experience that you wish other parents and or educators knew and understood about how the ADHD child brain works?
Hmm. Let's see. I could probably put it in a way like this, that they have to understand that it's almost like a maze, and there's no signs in that maze to kind of give you that clue of how to get out of the maze. And even when they get close to the exit, there's something in the brain that says, wait, I think I left something back there. I think that I heard a sound. Let me go back and check. So they've made through the day and they're almost at the end, but there's something that says, let me go back and do it again, all again. So I just want them to understand that as a neurodivergent person, ADHD, whatever form someone may have, that there's not that straight line that most people go through to says, okay, well,
Mhm,
here's start and then here's finish, right?
mhm.
That person needs to go through every up and down, left and right. And even when they do all of that, they are exhausted, right? They've been thinking and
Yes, mental
rationalizing.
exhaustion.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
just get
Yeah,
work with them, and that's what I would say.
I didn't get that until I did more research and learning about ADHD because my son would always come home and say he's tired. I'm like, you're in kindergarten. How are you tired?
Yeah.
Okay, because he's been running all day. But then when he was saying it, when he was getting further into elementary, getting ready to go into middle school, and he's still saying he's tired, I'm like, what? Why are you tired? You just been sitting in class and blah, 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 blah. But then I'm like, then as I started learning and understanding more about ADHD, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then even when I went to college online for a while, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, now I really see what this, yeah, okay. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And they need those breaks. And unfortunately, in most public schools, they don't get those breaks.
Hmm.
I even had, I even had them put those kinds of breaks in his 504.
Hmm.
But come to find out, they weren't really following the 504.
Yeah.
Classes are overcrowded, and the teacher has multiple students with 504s and ADHD and blah 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 blah. Okay, I get all that, but I'm talking about my kid.
Yes.
I'm talking about my kid. Okay, you signed up to be the teacher. This is your job. If you're not understanding ADHD, you need to do some research or whatever you need to do to understand. But my kid has a very specific 504, very specific instructions for him that need to be followed and
Yeah.
taken care of. And I really think that it would benefit his whole class. It was simple stuff. Like you said, it wasn't anything money thing. Simple stuff like eliminating a lot of the on the board writing and give them the actual paper where they can look at it. Because, like, for my son, he also had vision processing issues. And
Okay.
his vision specialist said that it was very difficult for him to do the process of copying things from the board. Now, for us, that sounds so simple. He said, but from the process that the eye and the brain have to go through, it's overwhelming for him. He said, because it takes a set of brain skills to focus on your paper, and then you look up and you have to focus on the board. Then you come back to your paper, got to remember where you are,
Mm.
remember what you saw on the board, write it down, and then go back to the board, remember where you left off, remember some more, go back to
That's
it. He
that
said
maze.
that, yes, that's that maze. He said that was a whole lot for him just to do that. And one of the first things in his 504 was to eliminate that. Come to find out it wasn't being done. Now,
Mm.
me as a parent, I'm thinking, it's the school, everything's taken care of, we're good to go. No, no, that was not the case. That
Right.
was a fight every single semester. You hear me? Not every year, every semester.
Yeah.
Because they want to pick and choose what they're doing and when they do it. No, 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 no,
You
no, no,
gotta
no,
hit him
no.
with the woo saw, right? You gotta hit
Yeah,
him. Just
he needs this every day. Yes, I had to pray constantly to keep from snatching people across the table because like this is my kid you're talking about. You are not going to put your lack of knowledge on him and blame him
yeah.
because you don't understand the child that you're dealing with. You all say every child is different. They learn differently. So I ask you, oh, why don't you teach them differently?
Mm,
You're teaching them all the same, but you're still saying they learn differently. Those two things don't match up.
yeah.
If every child learns differently, then it makes sense to me that they need to be taught differently. And that's not happening.
Very true.
That's not happening. So, are there any last words that you would like to share?
Yeah, I just want to tell everyone out there that's listening, just to take some time and just really focus on learning. Like you said, everyone learns differently, right? So learn what works for you and then just repeat that, right? It's very simple philosophy in our family. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't, then adjust it. So take that time, learn what works for you and your family. And one kid needs to be held differently than the other kid if you have multiple, right? So it's
Yes.
exhausting, but it's worth it. And the last thing I would say is no matter what, reach out for assistance, join a community, join other people to talk about and learn little hints and tips that could work,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
f- that for them you might can implement for yourself. And don't be afraid to talk to a therapist or talk to a counselor or anyone. It does you no harm. It makes you look no less of a parent, as a guardian, or whatever. And then just
Hmm.
keep striving to get better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. So, definitely, definitely, those out there listening, especially single moms who are really struggling with a child, or if you have multiple children. I know most of them have multiple children. I'm one of the
Mm,
rare ones who only had the one child. But as a single mom and you're dealing with multiple children, especially if they have multiple neurodivergent issues,
yeah,
one child has ADHD and autism, the other child may have OCD and depression or anxiety. That is a lot. Please, please do not try to keep dealing with this by yourself. I don't care what society's saying.
yeah,
You're superwoman, you're weak, whatever. I didn't need any help when I was back in my okay. It's a different world today. You need that assistance. Reach out. Facebook groups, uh, meetup groups, me. You can always email me, ADHDcutie at gmail.com, because I
woo-hoo.
am also a single mom. I've been there. I can definitely give you tips and tricks. I can be your support. Lion FLudd, sir, where can people find you if they
Thank
want
you.
to reach out to you?
Yeah, so it's very simple. My website is lionfludd.com, LionFludd.com. You can find all of my contact information there, emails, all my social media links, podcasts, and for our son, his is ADHD is my superpower. That's his podcast. Check him out sometimes. He loves talking to other kids on there as well. So if you have a kid who want to just hop on and just they talk on the podcast, that's great there as well. So that's how I
Oh,
can be
that's
reached and found.
that's cool. All
Yeah.
right, mom. So you single moms out there, or even dads, if your child wants to talk, get their story out, and talk to another kid, that's the key. They'll be talking to one of their peers. Please reach out to Lion FLudd or to his son
Yeah.
with that email information that he just shared. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a black man lifting his ADHD voice for you, for your son, family. Thank you so much. We need so much more of that.
Yay,
So much
me.
more. Yay, you. Okay, so that does it for us for this Sunday session. There any other parents out there? I would love to hear from you. Even the males, my black men, please do come and share. That's why I had Mr. Flood on here so you all can see it's not a big, oh my God, we don't talk about that. It's not that anymore. ADHD is not a big deal anymore. It's not this big dirty secret anymore.
That's right.
So many people have it and don't know they have it, but there are things that you can do to help yourself. It's a brain thing, and there are ways to retrain the brain to strengthen your executive function skills. Okay, so that's it for today. Please be kind to your mind and to others.